Hey Fit Chicks, welcome to another Mobility Monday. We've talked a lot about the squat, and so I wanted to kind of focus on the squat again and getting in a solid overhead position. I'm very thankful that Shane built this very tall standing desk because I'm able to use it to do a lot of things to work on my personal squat. One of my favorite drills, especially now that I'm going into rehab and I'm experiencing this lack of range of motion within my left ankle, is using a band for squats. What's happening right now, since I've injured myself, getting this knee to want to trek over top of my foot, and also getting my foot to not want to cave inward, which causes that knee turning in, is really challenging right now for me. So I've been working on strengthening the foot and getting that range of motion back, working on my dorsiflexion, which we see this a lot in people at boot camp, just because how often does that knee truly go over your toe? And when it does in everyday living, does it trek over the toe or does it want to cave in? Does that foot want to collapse? So one of the things that we can do to work on our squat and getting ourselves in a better position is using a band. You can purchase bands online. If you need to borrow one, you can borrow one from us. We would be more than happy to let you borrow one. And again, if you don't have a lovely desk like this at your house, you could use any pole, like if you have any poles in your basement. You can use a tree if it's warm enough to go outside, and you just anchor the band in. And all I'm doing is placing this band kind of around my bottom, like a swing almost. And what I'm going to do once I have it anchored, I want to make sure that it can hold my weight. I'm just going to kind of lean back a little bit. I'm going to try to position my feet underneath my hips, and I'm going to try to get my toes as forward as I can. Now, what I'm going to focus on is squatting down and not arching back. So after you squat, if you feel like you have some low back pain and you feel like you're arching, that's going to be something that you're going to want to work on, because we don't want to reach and arch our low back. We want to keep a nice neutral spine and work on going down towards the ground. So again, feet about hip width apart. If they need to come a little bit wider, that's okay, but focus on the toes, staying as forward as you can comfortably keep them. And then your arms are going to go up in this overhead position, which I lack some mobility here. So it is hard for me to get my arm next to my ear or behind my ear, but I'm just going to take it to where I comfortably can. And I'm going to focus on sitting down into my squat and not arching. So right now I'm arching. If I try to go neutral and just focus on sitting down and allowing my knees to trek over my toes and not cave inward. So I'm trying to keep them right over top of my toes, arms up overhead. I'm going to sit down in this position for about 20 to 30 seconds. What's going to happen is you're really going to feel your glutes activate, and you're really going to feel your quadriceps as those knees kind of trek over the toes and my hands are up. And then I'm going to stand straight up. I'm going to slowly come up so that I stay fully engaged. So what you don't want to do is just drop yourself down into this squat. You're really going to focus on keeping those toes forward and sitting down towards the ground, engaging your heels, making sure they're driving through the ground, and focus on that low back. Make sure we're not arching. We're keeping a neutral spine. And then on my way up, I'm going to try to keep this good overhead position, drive my knees out, push the earth away from me as I come up nice and slow. So you can do 5 by like 20-second holds. Those are really great for recruiting purposes, for muscle memory, so your body knows what it feels like to truly get in a really solid squat position.